Hi there, Eric Bakker, naturopath. FAQ. This one's from a lady in France, in some small place in France. It looks like a French name. The question here is, Eric, what are the consequences of a long-term chronic yeast infection if left untreated? I may have done a video on this before, I'm not sure, but the consequences of any condition left untreated are not usually that good, which is going to allow all sorts of disease processes to take place. So if we look at a yeast infection, for example, if left untreated, a vaginal yeast infection could turn to be a chronic problem, which can lead to all sorts of long-term complications. Just like any infection of the genital tract, it needs prompt attention and it needs a resolution. It's important first to diagnose what you're dealing with, and after you know what you're dealing with, then treat it and get it over and done with. Any condition in the body left to become chronic is asking for a lot of problems. You know, they say that yeast infections are self-limiting, but even the experts can't agree whether a yeast infection of the female area is going to lead to infertility or conditions like endometriosis. We don't really know. A lot of people are divided over that, but in my clinical experience, I've certainly seen a big link between infertility, endometriosis, and chronic yeast infections, which are basically just treated time and again only to resurface. And it's the same with a male. If a male gets a penis yeast infection or a genital condition, it would pay to treat this condition, because again it could lead to all sorts of complications. And I've certainly seen chronic prostatitis linked with male yeast infections. Intestinal yeast infections can lead to all sorts of complications for the gut. Liver disorders, diabetes, many different conditions can come about from this. It can be very debilitating and cause you a lot of discomfort, pain, and cost you a lot of money down the track in medical bills and time off work. So it would pay for you to treat any chronic condition promptly rather than waiting for it to get out of hand and become very chronic. Yeast infections can often go from the digestive system into the system itself, into the circulation. There's certainly studies which agree that this can take place. I wrote up one of these particular studies in my book of an American gentleman who swallowed some capsules of Candida albicans, and within only a few hours it could be cultured from his bloodstream and produced from the urine. So we know that yeast infections can spread from the GI tract into the circulation itself quite rapidly, even under the right conditions. So Candida is generally held in strict control in the body in accordance with the microbial balance which is occurring in the GI tract. But if Candida is given the upper hand through antibiotics or the pill, high stress, high sugar diets, for example, it can go rampant and become quite a severe major condition which certainly needs treatment. So my recommendation for you are, if you've got a chronic infection, is certainly to get onto it today rather than tomorrow, and do something about it so it doesn't become a condition which is unmanageable, even by the very best clinician. Any condition is best treated right now and nipped in the bud before it gets out of hand and becomes chronic. So I hope that answers a question there about the consequences of long-term chronic yeast infection if left untreated. Thank you.